This absolutely is the worst attempt at a fake miracle you've ever seen.
It's commanding life.
Rise up! Yes! Come on!
But let's talk about it here on All Things Theology. Cue my theme music.
All things theology, all things theology. We chop it up properly without an apology. Gotta give doxology to God, hallowed be, cause this is how we do it at All Things Theology.
Yo, grace and peace, and welcome back to an episode of All Things Theology, where this is your host, K-Dub. Today, we're going to be talking about a pastor in Africa named Alph Lukau. Sorry if I pronounce his name Lukai. Not sure on the last name pronunciation, but a few years ago, he did what only can be described as a fake miracle. I mean, that seems to be without question. We're going to get into that. Some of my African brothers said, hey, you need to do content on him. He's running rampant. He's actually, I think, if not the highest, makes the most money as a pastor, right? We're going to use that. He's definitely top 3. I did a video where I did the top 10 richest pastors in the world, and I do remember him being on that. But let's actually get into it. You know how we do it here on All Things Theology. We like to get right into it. So let's check this out.
What is his name?
Jesus!
Hello.
Now, if you look closely, you can already see that the man is actually moving. He's already moving. I mean, and so his mouth's wide open. I mean, clearly this. Oh, let me give a little context. Context is they claim that this man had already been dead 3 days prior to this event, and so right, he's embalmed, all that, right? I mean, and so but you can already see he's moving long before the alleged healing takes place. But let's keep going.
Elliot!
Jesus.
Lift your hands. Lift your hands.
Breathing, you can see him moving. Look at him, he's moving now. He just moved his tongue. Yeah.
Man is commanding life.
Rise up! Yes!
My goodness, look at this. Look at this picture. I mean, now ask yourself, I mean, this is bad. I mean, you would think with all that money, he would be able to afford a better fake miracle, right? But like, this doesn't even look real. You know, this is bad.
Wait a minute. Who are you?
No.
Boy, ain't no way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy.
This is terribly bad. So the man's name is Elliot. That's what they call him. Actually, there's some interviews where that's actually not his real name, and we're going to find a little bit more about this man. But let's keep watching.
He was dead! He's now alive!
Now, I don't know why, because there was another gentleman that I did a review of who had a apparent resurrection, and they both look like this. Like, they both look like they don't seem right after the apparent resurrection. They need some other kind of healing to fix whatever they got now, right? And so, but watch them. Well, they're going to do all sorts of silly stuff with him.
Jesus said, now to him who is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all we ask and hope for. Look at him. The coffin is empty.
Now, I want you to be clear of one thing, because this is going to come up on the test a little later, but it's very clear they're presenting this off as a resurrection, a miracle, a divine healing. No, he's even pointing, the tomb is empty, right? The coffin is empty, right? Indicating he who was dead is no longer dead, but now alive, right? Well, let's keep going.
Jesus!
Unto the Lord
Now, if someone bring me back from the dead and I come out like that, I would be mad. But he don't seem right. He just, don't seem right. It's like I think it's the acting going on. But yeah. At first, I was like, that food must be hot.
Glory, 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 glory. Jesus, 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 Jesus.
They're celebrating this, right? So it's very clear they see this as a victory for the church. Well, this went viral a couple years ago, again, like I said, and they got a hold of like everybody. This man's neighbors, his former employees, like they were talking to everybody about this. I thought this was insane. Let's see what the neighbor has to say first.
He never died. He was also never sick.
But was the miracle real?
His wife once recruited me to go and act at the church. They especially want people who can speak English.
And there is an incentive.
If you act your part well, they'll give you 1,500 rand or just 1,000 rand for your silence.
Now, I want you to actually pick up on that because two things that were interesting that'll come up here in a second, and that is this guy was recruiting other people and he was being paid $1,500 to do it and $1,000 to like be silent, not to tell anybody. That's going to come back up in a second, but let's actually hear from his former employer. His former job, right? Let's hear him, what he has to say.
The man of the hour, identified in the video as Elliot, as said by the pastor, as he's performing that so-called miracle that we saw, that's really been making some shockwaves through social media, receiving some backlash from the religious sector. And all we knew was that this man's name was Elliot and was supposedly dead for a couple of days before the pastor performed that miracle. Now we've done some digging, and like you said, we've managed to actually track down his employer all the way in Pretoria, and we understand that his real name, in fact, is Brighton Moyo, and he is a Zimbabwean national.
So they found out his real name. His real name is not Elliot, obviously, but I saw another video. I didn't put it in here, but they actually showed video of Elliot actually working behind the camera for Alph. So long before this, and I thought that was interesting, but it's going to be interesting what his boss has to say. So let's hear some from what he has to say.
And in fact was working in this timber company since around June 2018. Now, to give us more detail around that, I am joined by his employer, Vincent Amaroti. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, and just give us a brief history about what you know about Brighton and how the working relationship was with him here at your timber company.
He was a very nice guy, and he came here about 6 months ago to learn the woodworking industry. And he was very willing and very able, but he was always very smartly dressed. And he, at the Christmas party at the end of the year, he was one of the smartest. He learned very quickly, and we made him an assistant machinist where he was planing timber. He did cut the end of, just nicked the end of his finger, and it was like the end of the world. It took his confidence away for quite a long time. But he worked well, and he was a nice guy, and it was an absolute shock to see him in the video and to recognize him with his mouth wide open.
Tell me about that moment. Exactly where were you when you saw the video, and what went through your mind when you saw him and recognized him?
Well, we suspended him a couple of weeks ago for missing a Monday and coming late on a Tuesday. And he was suspended with full pay, but he never came back. And we wondered what happened to him. And one of his friends brought a video into the office and told us that Brighton had died. And I love my employees. We've got 50 guys here. And to know that one of them had died, I was shocked. And when I went to look at the video, and I saw him lying in the coffin, and I saw his mouth moving, I said, he's not dead. And then we saw him breathing, and then we saw him come to life.
So, the boss doesn't believe it. The neighbors don't believe it. Literally, nobody believes this miracle unless you go to Alph's church, And so, but yeah, let's keep watching.
And those eyes looking all around, it was crazy. So it was a big joke.
Yeah. Tell me, I understand, of course, he was quite an avid believer in this pastor, in the church, very religious.
So notice, the reporter is, telling this man, hey, he was, I guess she has been informed that he was, I guess, a promoter, I guess he talked about him a lot, and he's like, believed in what he was saying. And so I thought it was interesting what the boss comes back and says.
He was a member, according to what you know.
A member.
He was a member, and they all talk about believing in the things and all that. But I believe his sister and his aunt and another family member are in the church. And he, from what I hear from my staff, he was trying to get people to come and do the act with him.
So notice, according to the boss, they've been talking, and some other workers have said, hey, he's trying to recruit us to get us to do some of this, these miracles. And that's not going to be the last time we hear that. Remember, I said we're going to hear something about the money and, him being, him recruiting people. Now, again, we've heard that from the neighbor. They were trying to recruit people to do something like this. And Alph on his YouTube channel has numerous videos just like that one. I mean, they look fake, they look bizarre. They're, clearly edited, things like that. And you can only imagine how many people he's paid to do these miracles, allegedly.
So I believe he has done a stunt in the wheelchair where he got up and he walked away, and he tried to.
So apparently he's done other fake miracles. So Elliot has been getting busy, not for the Lord, but for fake miracles.
You say solicit some of the people that work for me to come and do the shows with him. So it's an ongoing thing.
So it seems that it was almost a part-time job, this kind of work for him.
I think so, and I think that's why he was here, to get the guys to go with him to go and act up on the thing.
All right. So you're saying you haven't seen Brighton since around the 4th of February.
Yeah.
Would you like to have him back?
I wouldn't mind. Yeah. It'll be a new guy. It won't be the old guy.
Thank you so much.
I thought that was hilarious. He's like, well, since he's resurrected, I'll have me a new employee. I thought that was hilarious. Well, Alph does respond to these allegations, and he responds because apparently a lot of pastors were upset. He even got sued from what I saw. I think even a couple people went to jail because of this incident. It seemed like this was bizarre. It took Africa by storm. Well, here is his response. You'll find it strange.
Every headline almost said Pastor Alph claimed to have resurrected a man who was dead. Now, I am asking whoever wrote it, tell me, where did I claim it? If you cannot tell me that, please, for dignity's sake, retract it.
So essentially, he's denying ever claiming that he healed him. I mean, the man's coffin was gone, right? Empty. He said he was dead. They're screaming he's alive. I mean, my goodness, it is very clear that you guys were claiming that this was an actual resurrection. So he's like, where did I claim that? I mean, the little guy in a coffin that's not moving or supposed to not be moving. And now he's alive and y'all feeding him, pouring water on him. So what actually happened then? If this isn't a resurrection, if you're not claiming that's what happened, I mean, you just walked in on a coffin and just feeding a homeless guy. I mean, it's very clear what happened, right? But there's a former employee who came out against Alph that I was able to find, who was saying, man, he does stuff like this all the time. So let's check this out.
Came to me and say, you want money, right? And I say, yes, I want money, because right now things are not fine with me, so I really want money. Then they said, we want you to come next week, For the first time, they didn't tell me what to do. They gave me a paper that was 2 of them. The first one was written, I was positive, because they already knew my name and my surname. So they went, I don't know where, to the doctor and say I was HIV positive. And the other one was saying I'm now negative.
3 years is torment.
Revesai does not get to speak for herself though.
She was tormented, Pastor Alph, by that disease. On Monday, she went for a test, and she saw the test was negative. But just something said, let me check again on Thursday.
Come on now.
And Pastor, when she went back on Thursday, she got the exact results, HIV negative.
Hey! God is fighting for us.
I was not positive. I've never been positive. They wanted me to act as if I was positive, and then Pastor prayed for me and I get healed so they can attract other people to come to the church. They promised me money.
How much?
They said they were going to give me 1.5 every month.
Very interesting. So this girl, obviously, she was desperate for money, and that's what these people prey on. Women burdened with sins and desperate. Right. She comes to the church. She's like, I don't even know why they didn't tell me why I'm there while she was on the stage or up at the front. They tell her she's HIV positive and she's been healed. They have this paper, she's like, I've never been HIV positive in my life. And to come to find out, the same amount of money is being alleged that they were going to pay her $1,500 every month, pretty much just to be quiet. Right. And just for using her. And she's like, I don't want to be used anymore. So very interesting. There's a lot of people hustling for miracles because a lot of people are thirsty for miracles. They just want to be supernatural, right? Just living the normal Christian life, going to church, being holy, reading your Bible, praying, evangelizing. That isn't like spectacular, right? We want to do the supernatural, right? Rather than the very normative Christian life that we live. That's not seen as anything worth imitating. But that is the very means God uses to draw his people, and that we're to do. If God heals, amen. But we don't need shenanigans and gimmicks and nothing like this. Preach the gospel. Preach the gospel. No one has been saved by miracles, unless we're talking about the miracle regeneration that has been used through the gospel, right? Proclaim the gospel. Hope this video was helpful. Till the next time, grace and peace. Yo, grace and peace. Thank you for watching another episode of All Things Theology. If you enjoyed what you heard today, go on and give me a like. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell. I promise to give you weekly lives, videos, interactions, exposing false teachers, sharing with you, the viewer, my theological beliefs, things about the culture, and the Bible. So if you're here for that, come on and join us. Also, if you would like to support this channel financially, you can do so by becoming a Patreon member or a YouTube member. Links are in the description below. You can see content before it drops. You can also have Q&A sessions with also other Patreon members, YouTube members as well. So if you would like that, hit the description link in below.